I learned firearm safety really young, like 4 years old young. My dad would check the gun first, then he'd hand it to me and say, "Now you check." Every time, no shortcuts. Back then, I didn't know I'd grow up to be a world champion. I didn't know what my future looked like, but somehow that lesson stuck. It taught me to slow down, to be responsible, to respect what's in my hands. Those habits followed me, from that little kid to the competitor I am today, on the range, at work, and in life.
Hi, I'm Jaylise Williams of Blue Star Experiences. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's the very first one of my educational series. So we're going to be covering everything about firearms from A to Z. It's going to be great and wonderful. Please watch this video first. Firearm safety first. This is the very first episode in my educational series. Why is safety my first episode? Because safety is the building block of our foundation to better shooting. We need to be safe before we even start shooting. So we're going to go over the safety rules and as to why they are important. We want to practice safety at all times with our firearms. So we're going to go into the 4 rules now. The first rule is treat all firearms as if they are loaded. The second rule is keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. The third is never point the gun at something you're not willing to destroy. And the fourth, know your target and what's behind it. We want to practice safety at all times. So with that, we're going into the very first rule of the 4 rules of firearm safety. And that is treat all firearms as if they are loaded. So as you see, I have a firearm right here in front of me. The slide is locked back. Let's check to make sure that this firearm is unloaded. So how I do that, I like to double check when it comes to safety. So I'm going to make sure there's nothing to feed it, meaning there's no magazine in the mag well. Nothing to feed it, nothing in its mouth, meaning there is no round inside the chamber. I'm looking in the chamber at the barrel to double check there is no round in there. And then I do that twice. Nothing to feed it, nothing in its mouth. Nothing to feed it, nothing in its mouth. Now I can let the slide down, I can go ahead to dry fire or proceed to load, etc. But now we know this gun is unloaded. Number 2, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Let's do this together. So, as you see, as I picked up the firearm, my finger automatically went to the slide of the gun. We want it on the slide because if it's on the barely the side or in front of the trigger, as you see, my fingers are short, so it doesn't quite reach the end of the trigger guard. But it's easily, if you're moving with your firearm, it's easy for it, if it's on the side right here, it's easy for you to fall or trip or something and go right into the trigger. So I like to keep my finger nice and high on the slide. That's where it lives until I'm ready to fire. The third rule is never point the gun at something you're not willing to destroy. This is encompassing everything from your home to shooting ranges to out in the desert shooting. We don't want to point the gun at something we don't actually want to shoot. So in your own home, you wouldn't want to destroy your computer. So we don't point the gun at your computer. We want to point it against a blank wall if we can. And then think about shooting ranges. You're on the line with a bunch of other people. So when you're doing your reloading, when you're racking the gun and everything, we want the gun down range, perfectly down range, because we don't want to accidentally sweep the person next to us. We don't want them to sweep us. So muzzle discipline in this rule specifically is important. And the fourth, know your target and what's behind it. So let's observe me doing all 4 safety rules. I have a gun in front of me, I'm going to pick it up. As I pick it up, I'm going to keep my finger on the side of the gun on the slide. I'm pointing it in a safe direction. I'm going to check to make sure it's unloaded. Nothing to feed it, nothing in its mouth. Nothing to feed it, nothing in its mouth. Okay? If I want to lock the slide back, I'm going to do so pointing in a safe direction. Okay, slide's locked back. I feel safe to pull the trigger now, and I'm going to do it in a safe direction. I know my target and exactly what's behind it. Again, this is my first video on my educational series. This is the first video because safety always comes first. We are going to be covering so much in this education series. I'm so excited to bring it to you, but we're going to be covering everything with our firearms from A to Z. It's going to be awesome, but what we do in every single video is be safe no matter what. So if you want to become more proficient with your firearm, please watch along with me.